Pennsylvania 65000. Hello, Glenn Miller fans. It's Trust the Profits. I'm the Formula here, talking to you about the Pennsylvania Derby, giving you a preview of that race that is happening on September 24th. We're 10 days out from the Pennsylvania Derby, but it's going to be an exciting one. It's at Parks. It's a G1, 9 furlongs. That's 1 1/8 miles on dirt. As you can see from the list here, we have a list of possibles, probables, and nominees for the Derby. It's a long list. It's essentially a who's who of horses that cannot beat Epicenter. This is really, it could be named the race of who's the second best 3-year-old to Epicenter. And yeah, okay, Rich Strike, we get it. You did beat Epicenter. Okay, fair enough. You beat him in the Kentucky Derby, but what he did to you at Travers just weeks ago proved that he is the better horse. He had a great run at the Derby. Two wins in 10 races. We'll get to you in a second. We got it. Let's move on. CYBERKNIFE. Going into Travers, I really like CYBERKNIFE. Epicenter, obviously, 5 lengths ahead of everybody else, including CYBERKNIFE. But let's respin the tape on him. So in the last 6 races, he's got 4 wins, including a G1 at the Haskell, setting a new track record. Conditions were right for him to do so, but he did it nonetheless. Don't want to take that away from him. Previous to that, at the Matt win, 141.99, 1 second off the track record there. He did finish 18th at the Derby, did finish 5 lengths behind Epicenter, but Epicenter's not in this race. Moving on, we got Zandon. Also in the Travers, finished neck and neck with CYBERKNIFE. Just a step above CYBERKNIFE, if I am to remember this properly. Heavy Derby favorite, been a bridesmaid consistently. Last win was the Bluegrass Stakes, came in second at the Jim Dandy, came in third to Epicenter, and Rich Strike at the Derby, yes. Third at the Travers to Epicenter and CYBERKNIFE. So CYBERKNIFE edged him out by the nose there. Definitely a horse to challenge for first here, considering the big E is not in the race. Moving on from Zandon, because you know him already. TAIBA. 4 starts, 2 wins, 1 second place. A lot of people talking about him being the favorite when we were going into the Derby, the favorite to win the Derby. He actually started the second favorite to Epicenter. He's a 5-8 win that 20-horse field, but he finished 12th. It is the one time he finished out of the money. Short race history, obviously. He was the winner of the Santa Anita Derby. That's the biggest race that he's won so far in his career. Most recently, though, he did come in second to CYBERKNIFE by a head at the Haskell. Bob Baffert, again, is the trainer. Tim Yaktine was the trainer in the interim so that he could run in the Derby, but he's back to Baffert. Now that he's back in Baffert's barn, finishing ahead behind CYBERKNIFE at the Haskell, it seems like he is back to what a lot of people thought he would be. Maybe not the dominator that they thought he would be, though, but very much in play to win this race. Who up next? Rich Strike. Okay, Rich Strike, you got your nose in there before. Let's talk about you now. The unlikely Derby winner. Yes. 10 races and 2 wins. Yes. He won a maiden claimer and the big one. 3 third-place finishes. Okay, the rest is out of the money. I will say this, he was very close in the Travers. So people wanting to comment, hey, maybe Rich Strike is for real. I give it to him. I give him credit on that. The second, third, and fourth place finishers at the Travers were very close. He proved that he could run a race with Zandon and CYBERKNIFE, so I gotta throw him in the mix here. He's a closer. If he gets the right conditions, he could really put up a fight here. So considerations for Rich Strike. How about that? Who else we got here? White ABARRIO going into the Derby. Maybe there were some questions around White ABARRIO, but he won a couple big races going into the Derby. The Curlin Stakes and the Florida Derby looked very impressive when he was racing in Florida. Following the Derby, he took second at the Ohio Derby to Tawny Port. He was 1 length behind, pretty close there. At the Haskell, though, changing up jockeys, I don't think that's what it was, but it is noted that he had Rosario instead of Tyler Gaffalione. He had a disappointing 7th place finish out of 8 horses at the Haskell. Just didn't look like his old self. Question marks on whether he's even going to be running in this race. I think he probably will. They're probably hoping he's going to have a turnaround, add a slight hiccup at the Haskell. Question marks still remain, especially how deep this field is over whether White Abarrio will make a dent. Tawny Port, the horse that beat White Abarrio at the Ohio Derby, similar to White Abarrio, 8 starts, 4 wins, 1 second place, 1 third place. Most recently, he was the winner of the Lexington Stakes, winner of the Ohio Derby at Thistletown, finished 7th at the Derby. Considering what a race that was, pretty impressive to be finishing where he did. Most recently, tracked third behind Epicenter and Zandon at the Jim Dandy. So based off of that, based off of where he was with Zandon in that race, I'm still going to put him a step behind the front pack. Simplification, 2 wins in 7 races for Simplification. 4th place at the Derby. A lot of people forget that he was the 4th place horse in that crazy finish, but there he was. Most recently, 3rd place to Skippy Longstocking and We the People at the West Virginia Derby. That's a 9 furlong race, just like this race, but he was also 5 lengths back. And he also faded to 6 at the Preakness. Has not looked impressive since the Derby. Um, so I think Simplification, I'm going to cross him off my list for this race. The rest, we got 2 pages of rests here. Skippy Longstocking, as we mentioned, depending on who will not run in Pennsylvania, Skippy Longstocking could be a sleeper in my opinion. He was impressive at the West Virginia Derby, winner over We the People in Simplification. So he's beat some of those next tier horses. I think he's a consideration here. Ethereal Road, he was the big Kentucky Derby scratch that opened the door for Rich Strike. Last 3 races been problematic and unimpressive for Ethereal Road. I'm going to scratch him here. Creative Minister, last race came in third to Best Actor. Forgot to capitalize actor at Parks, and third in Curlin before that. Not gonna anticipate much from Creative Minister here. We the People, second at West Virginia, fourth at Belmont. It's got an outside chance, but I think in order for me to really consider him, we have to see a significant number of scratches and the right scratches or the right not enters in order to consider We the People. Uh, Page 2, Best Actor, 3 wins, 1 second in 4 starts, racing in mainly G3s and a couple maiden claimers. Winner of the Smarty Jones by 5 lengths, came in second at the Indiana Derby by half a length behind Actuator. This is an interesting horse for me. Brad Cox, kind of a horse that's creeping up. Maybe you could possibly say coming out of nowhere. Best Actor, that of the rest is probably my favorite horse. Interstate Daydream, impressive filly, winning the Indiana Oaks, and Black Eyed Susan, impressive horse. I don't know if she's a good match for this crowd because this is a very high level, top tier talent, 3-year-old crowd here. I don't think she's going to make a dent. Will be fun to watch her race if she does enter. Rhetoric, unimpressive Baffert horse, not even competing when he races in allowance races. I'm scratching him off. And then Kiss a Lot. I mean, the name says it all. Kiss a Lot. Second at the Smarty Jones to Best Actor. If he can't beat Best Actor, I'm certainly not placing any sort of bets on Kiss a Lot here. And the name alone is moving on. Okay, so the strategy. We got no odds at the time, so all of this is just purely based on where I think the odds are gonna land and some sort of mental strategies here. It's a tight field at the top. We talked about a number of horses that are finishing like half a length from each other. You got Zandon, you got CYBERKNIFE, you got TAIBA. You can even throw in Rich Strike in there, maybe even Tawny Port. They're all pretty close to each other. I think my top 3 though, Zandon, CYBERKNIFE, and TAIBA. I'm not shaking the earth when I say that. I'm sure everybody else will give you pretty much the same top 3. What I would say, watch the odds. Watch to see who enters, of course, too. If all 3 of them enter, watch the odds and see if you get a price on one. I have a feeling people are going to jump on top of TAIBA. I have a feeling people are going to jump on top of CYBERKNIFE. I think Zandon has as good a chance as any of those 3 to win. So right now, I'm going to say my money's on Zandon simply because of that. And then, if I want to talk about a key, I would key Zandon. You add in CYBERKNIFE, you add in TAIBA. And then based on who's left in the field, I'm going to throw in either Rich Strike, Tawny Port, Best Actor, or Skippy Longstocking, depending on who enters, who scratches, what the odds look like. But in that order, though, Rich Strike, Tawny Port, Best Actor, Skippy Longstocking. That's my betting strategy for you. What do you guys think? Hit the subscribe button. Tell me what you think in the comments. Notice that I am not eating black pens today. That's already a bonus. All right, everyone. Peace out.